All right, today we're going over a couple little things I'm testing out. First off, I need to heal real quick. So this is kind of an addition back to the looking for the perfect build to start a character with. Mainly because I rather enjoy using a max strength character at the beginning of the game, but I feel like I'm losing out on some quality of life when I don't have high constitution or something like that. And the more I'm thinking about the game, the more I think that high constitution is better to have at the start of the game. Uh, because ideally, so far, high constitution with medical skill gives you the best chance of survival at the beginning of the game. I think it's rather interesting. Now, also, I've been testing a couple different things, but we've been testing out the bow skill, and that's what this is about right now. So it's strength leveling and bow skill. I'm thinking about remaking my character that is on multiplayer server right now. He's already got, advanced medical, and basically I started him at 5 strength, 1 constitution, I believe, or 1.5 constitution, 2.5 dex, 3 intelligence. Maxed medical. He's already got medium survival, engineering, camo, awareness, and basically I only played him for a day, and then I passive farmed a little bit on him while I'm at work. And then strength wise, I started advanced brawling basic rifles so I could craft these scopes and stuff for the gun for sniper, and then medium uh, medium melee. So if you go 5 strength, I would recommend doing that. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but you can go advanced rifles if you want. But if you want to try and get all the skills maxed, then I think that's probably the best way when you go 5 strength to do that, just so that you can get access to the scopes early. And that's also something that I would consider right now with this character. But here's the thing, okay? When you passive level stealth and you passive level camo, your constitution goes down. Unless you're constantly moving your character like this, constitution goes down. I can do that. I've managed to do that on my other characters and keep my constitution going. However, constitution does not raise very fast, it does not seem. And there's a lot of times where you kind of slow down, you're not moving as fast. Over a long period of time, sure, it will go up. But say that you want that advanced skill or something, right? The first, like, you can start the game with basic in both endurance and running, right? So let's say you need that 100,000. You're going to be getting that at a rate of like 1 a second. So to get to that is going to take you 27 hours of consistent running. You're going to have to consistently run, and you're going to have to do that for both running and endurance, and you're going to have to take breaks in between that to get your stamina back. So this is ideal situation. It's going to take longer than 30 to get to medium. And then when you get to advanced, let's say it's not going to start at 4 a second, but let's say ideally if you get 4 a second, that's still, you know, 2 to 3 days of ideally running consistently the whole time. And that is where I have kind of an issue with this, because you're not going to be running all the time, especially, unless you're traveling around and exploring the whole map, which I did when I first started. But now that I have an idea of where I want to build and everything like that, there's no way I'm going to get to 5 constitution. There's no way I'm going to get to advanced in those skills. So when we're looking at the perfect build, I'm going to kind of go over this for a second. Okay, the skills that take the longest. Okay. All of these in strength, you can level up pretty quick. All right. We've been playing for like 10 minutes. We've already got, you know, halfway to medium archery because we're testing that. Started with medium brawling. We're not able to get any XP from it. I don't know if that's a glitch or if because we don't have enough strength yet. But strength is the only stat that doesn't go down unless you don't get your protein intake. So this over a long period of time is going to be more consistent than constitution and more consistent than dexterity. At the beginning of the game, lowering your strength is going to burn less calories, which is also very good. And you can see the build that we're going for. I got a couple of builds that I'm going for, but if I was a solo player, okay, listen to me for a real second. If you're a solo player and you don't plan on making a big tribe or something, right now in the game, this is the build that I would recommend. You can see I got 5 constitution and I've been moving relatively frequently this whole time and it's been 10 minutes and I've already lost points in my constitution. Okay? It has dropped already from the beginning of the game. Now, if I continuously run for an hour or so before I stop, then it'll stay up, but it's probably not going to. And you can see right here we have 120 HP and we have 72 stamina. And this is a big thing because this can affect your gun skill, like just like aiming and stuff, your running, your combat. So it's going to be easier to level up your brawling, easier to level up your melee, easier to level up all this other stuff if you have that endurance. Um, Even when you're running and like trying to level strength while running or with gear, it's going to help you out. The constitution is going to help you out at the beginning of the game, moving around the map, getting loot to and from the trading post, chasing down players, running away from players, the extra HP. So if you have 3 constitution, you're going to have 100 HP, or no, you'll have 80 HP, I believe. So if you start with 5, you have a 50% increase in health. That is going to be a major difference in a fight. Okay. Even if they have like advanced melee with 5 strength and they're not going to have as much movement speed as you. Okay, if they go like max endurance, they may have like 27 or something. If they sneak up on you and get a hit in, it's going to hurt pretty bad. But you're going to be able to tank probably at least one of those hits, maybe 2, and not really be much affected health wise. You're still going to be on the same sort of pace. When it comes to ranged combat, that's where you get a big advantage because you're going to have 50% more HP than them at the beginning of the game, and that is a big deal, especially early. Now, on top of this, they attached all these other things to it. So, influences health points, stamina, damage and status, shock, poison, etc., resistances, immune system, calorie and water consumption efficiency. And this is where I think starting with 5 constitution is the best way to start in Scum, because as the game gets harder, as things get more difficult, if they add poisons and the shock and all that stuff into here, let alone the immune system, especially when you first start out the game, you don't want to die from infections. It's very common. If you have a low constitution and you don't know how to play the game, you're going to get an infection and it's going to die and sap all your strength, and it's a terrible existence. Okay, until you get the experience to know where to get all your supplies and stuff from, it's a terrible deal to deal with. Okay, now the damage and status effects, shock, I guess, isn't in the game yet. Poison, they just added some with the mushrooms. Resistance, I think, is going to be a big deal later on. They don't really have it in the game yet, but it is a stat underneath Constitution. So right now, like, I think this is going to be a big thing. And as you go on, I think, long term, if they add something like resistance, I would dump some of my points and go like medium running, medium endurance, medium uh, resistance at the beginning of the game. If that ends up becoming a thing, because that would give you, a really good balance. And even though it's going to take you like a year to level up everything, um, I think it's a really good deal. Now, I think also if you do the 5 Constitution right now, you need to do a 67-67 split. Uh, you can do whatever you want at the beginning of the game, but I use a 67% split when I do Constitution with any other lower than 5. So even when I go 3 constitution, I'll do 67% running and then take basic endurance because that stops the negative effect of your stamina regeneration and it stops the negative effect from your endurance skill consumption as well. So if you go 3 constitution, I would still recommend going 67% and then basic endurance because that's going to give you the best overall calorie usage, endurance regeneration, and speed at the beginning of the game. And as soon as this levels up, okay, because the running skill is going to level up at some point, and when it does, that 13% is going to turn into 14% movement speed. So when you get to 68% or 69%, I don't remember, this goes to 14% movement speed. You can get that in a day, and when that happens, you're going to be moving at 30 kilometers per hour. And this is where that basically, beats out everything else. I think if you do max running at the beginning of the game, you can get 27 or 28 kilometers per hour. If you go max dexterity, I think you can still get 27, 28 kilometers per hour. But this right here is going to give you 29 at the beginning. It's not the fastest that you can get at the beginning of the game. Someone that's going 3 here and 3 in dex can go advanced running, and I think the dex will push them up to like 31 kilometers per hour. Or if you drop this to 1.5 and you do advanced running and then you go heavy into the dex, you can get like 31, 32 kilometers per hour. That's the fastest that you're going to get at the beginning of the game. But then you're losing out a bunch of stats. It's going to take you a lot longer to, get your strength and everything up. Uh, it's not really the fact that it's going to take longer to get the strength up. It's going to take longer for you to become effective with bows. So if you have 1.5 strength, you're going to be able to at least get medium in all weapon categories. And that's important. So you can see the first 10 minutes of gameplay, just me shooting arrows, I'm already almost to medium archery. Okay, I already have medium uh brawling. Then I can switch and focus on my melee weapons. So then like in a couple hours I'll have medium melee weapons, and then when I get my hands on a rifle, I'll be able to get medium rifle pretty easily and a medium handgun pretty easily, which is going to be a big thing. I could get a crossbow and level up my rifle to medium at the beginning of the game pretty easily as well. I guess I can show you that real quick. Crossbow. Improvised crossbow and bolts. Actually, give me a hiking backpack as well. I want to examine this real quick. So crossbow bolt takes a feather and a wooden stick. That's not a big issue where my base is, where I'm planning on building. I can show you all that later on, but this is a basic crossbow. Let's go ahead and load this, and I'll spawn one armored puppet, and we can just see how much XP that we get per armored puppet. I think is what we're gonna do here. Okay. Now, I'm not gonna aim for like max damage or anything. I'm not gonna try and hit him in the head, because when you're leveling this, you just kind of want to hit him for damage. We have the movement speed to outrun pretty much any of the zombies in the game. Okay, so it only takes 3 hits to kill armored puppet. It's not gonna be as fast as the bow, but it is pretty fast. If you have multiple teammates, that's gonna be a pretty quick takedown. So just that, we got 700 XP right there, over 3 shots. So you're getting 2.3%. All right, so it's going to take you 43 bolt shots or something to get to basic. All right, 43, and then, let's just say that it continues at the same rate. When you go to medium, you're going to get, I don't know, 400 or something probably to get to medium. That's not going to be a terrible thing to do. So you can get all of your weapon stats leveled up to medium at the first of the game. Very important, I think that is. And then from medium brawling to advanced brawling, it's going to take about 18 hours. Medium melee to advanced melee takes about 18 hours. Archery, I don't really know. I haven't tested all these out, but I think archery is going to be the fastest to level. Rifles will probably be up there as soon as you get hold of ammunition. Handguns will probably be up there as well as soon as you get hold of ammunition. I don't see those being difficult to level. The running skill, it's going to take you days, a couple of days of constant running. You're going to have to completely focus on it to get to medium. Okay. I mean, it might take you a couple days, and then you're going to have to do that for endurance as well. So you're already looking at like 4 days or something there. And then getting to advanced is going to take way longer than anything that's going to have to do with archery. Okay. Dexterity is going to passively level the whole way. Now, this is where I'm getting to talk to you why I like the 67% to advanced system. Okay, when it comes to thievery, I don't have any issues really lockpicking advanced too much with medium thievery. However, going from medium to advanced thievery takes a long, long time. And that's why thievery is one of the most important skills that you can get in Dex. Running and endurance are both important skills for con. And then intelligence, medical is going to take the longest to level up. Like you can already see shooting arrows levels up your awareness quite a bit. So right now, that's also another benefit to using bows at the beginning of the game. If you use a bow in combination with building a base, you will level up your awareness rapidly. Okay, this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but when I level a base, awareness is leveling about half the speed of survival. So when I get medium survival, usually I have, a little bit over basic awareness. Okay. And engineering can get to medium faster than survival can even get to medium. So this easy to level, this easy to level, this kind of slow to level, but you want it early. The benefit though is that when you use archery, you can recover your arrows. And when you recover your arrows, you're getting XP and awareness every time that you do that. So you search a zombie, they got 3 items of clothing, you put 5 arrows into them. So that's, if you get 5 per, I mean, we still got a little bit of XP just right there. If you do 5 per, that's at least 25 XP right there. 30, probably getting about 40 XP or so, which is not bad at all. And you can just shoot your arrows and retrieve them, and that will level your awareness as well. So, all those skills fairly easy to level. Camouflage, easy to level. Sniping, I haven't tested, but it's probably easy to level, I would assume. Medical is the one that's going to take you the longest amount of time in here, and I also think it's one of the best to have at the beginning of the game, especially if you don't know where to get medical items at. This will make your medical treatment a lot easier at the beginning of the game, and it's going to give you access to, at least be competitive without having access to uh, gauze and all that stuff that you need to heal your character really quickly. So you can heal your character with rags and at least be on par with somebody who's using tourniquets and things like that. So I think this is the most optimal build that you can get for a solo player. And then if you want to take 5 intelligence for a base build like a commander or something, or if they add skills into intelligence like programming or something down the road, you can take the points out of con, dump them of intelligence. Then I would probably do a 50-50 split of running and endurance, or I would just take endurance depending on what you want to do. And then just put the extra points and you can get a medium skill in medical. If you are in like a heavy PvP server, you can also dump 5 points into intelligence, take basic survival, medium engineering, and advanced medical, and that will give you access to all of the crafting recipes you need at the beginning of the game for armor and weapons and some of the ammo for shotguns and the improvised shotgun. All that will be pretty good for you at the beginning of the game, and you just level up your conditioning passively as you go along. Now, when it comes to running versus endurance, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that uh, I believe endurance is a more important skill than running in general, but running does save you a lot of time, does help you flanking PvP, all that. So probably better to go with running. It's probably going to be a little bit easier to level endurance later on than running, so it's probably best to just start with running. However, if you don't plan on running a whole lot, you have a good system, you know where you're going to build, you're going to take your time getting places. Endurance, I think, is the way to go to get that decreased energy and water consumption rate. Not that you can't get food or whatever, but looking for food takes a lot of time out of your day when you could be doing other things, and when you get into PvP situations, it really sucks if you happen to run out of food or water while you're there, especially like a long base raid or anything like that. So I think having very high endurance is going to be a big deal. But when we look at this, starting with advanced medical, because it's going to take you like 40,000 or 400,000. I don't remember. I think 40,000 heals to get medical up, which isn't terrible. If you have teammates, then you could just heal all your teammates and probably be good. Stockpile medical items, you could level it a lot faster with a lot of players, but it's not going to be the biggest concern, I don't think, when it really comes down to it. I just don't think it's going to be the biggest concern. And then we're going to explain kind of this a little bit. So, for basic survival, you can process 10 trees. It's going to get basic survival up. For engineering, if you put planks in a door frame, you're going to get like Uh, I don't remember exactly. I feel it was like 14% or something of engineering. So you can get to basic engineering very rapidly just putting them into door frames. And when you get to basic, you can put them into uh, the big raft, which is a big one, and you can get to medium very quickly from that. And then at that point, I think you can do the medium chest or just base build in general to level it up. I usually just base build in general. Once I get to medium, I have no real value past medium when it comes to base building. You're saving like one toolbox use per like foundation or something. Everything I build at the beginning of the game's wood, so it doesn't require a lot of toolboxes. Doesn't none of that's really a big concern. And I'm getting XP for everything that I build. And then there's no real value between a medium cabin and a log cabin. So, or not a medium cabin, a medium cabin and a large cabin. The medium, large, and small cabins all have 3,000 HP. The medium cabin does take a tiny bit more materials than this, but nothing that's too much higher than a small cabin. The benefits, though, is that a medium cabin has two doors, where a small cabin has one door. So it's better to have a medium cabin over a small cabin. But small cabins can be useful, as in if you've seen my base build I was working on not too long ago, just to confuse people, extra storage, bed areas, simple places that you don't necessarily want to protect loot. When you go to an advanced log cabin, the only benefit here is that you're getting extra elevation on your base. So if you look at the base build that I did, these I just use purely for the elevation to fight and defend a base with. The second floor is pretty much useless to me. You could basically use it as a combination of a medium and a small cabin to put it together, put your bed and stuff upstairs, and then your other stuff in the locked room. So it could technically save space compared to just having two separate cabins. But I would still do two separate cabins over an advanced cabin because you get three doors instead of two doors. However, I'll let that decision be up to you. But you can level those skills very fast. Awareness, you can level up very fast. Also, if you want to passively level up awareness, you just go and you can chop down trees. That's something that I did with my tests. I chopped down a bunch of trees, piled the logs, cut the logs into planks, and put them down. But I think something that would be more efficient is you use sticks. So gather your tree branches, stick them in a pile, and then you go and you cut a bunch of tree branches in an area, and it surrounds you with sticks. The other thing was rocks. I believe I was going to pick up a bunch of rocks and level it. I think there was something else, but I'm forgetting what it was. There was something that I think was better than sticks. I can't remember. Oh, rag strips, I think is what it was. So if you find a pair of scissors, You can kill puppets, cut their cloth into rags, cut the rags into rag strips. With like the stick bundles, it takes more room for a stick than it does a rag or a rag strip. And when you cut the puppet's cloth, you're getting all of the extra stuff there when you use the scissors, which scissors aren't too difficult to find. That will end up giving you a bunch more awareness than taking the time to just go and cut down a bunch of trees and then processing the trees. It's also a lot quicker to do that compared to cutting the actual logs and stuff. And you might not gather as much survival doing that, but you get XP for awareness and stuff, and you can use the rags, later for healing, or the rag strips to gather up rags later. And then I also use it at the beginning of the game. It's especially useful to just craft a bunch of rope at the beginning of the game. So just go ahead and craft a lot of rope out of those rags while you're at it, and then you can use those ropes to build tools later on when you're base building. It really speeds up the process, not having to go and find a bunch of bushes and make rope and all of that. Also helps you with builds for chests at the beginning of the game because you need like 30, 35 rope for a chest. So that's really good to just have the extra rope around to build chests whenever you want. Then also it helps you with making bows, spears, all your basic tools and things that you need in the game. Having rope is going to be a big deal. Also your beds and your shelters and stuff at the beginning of the game. So that's why I would prioritize rope over that. But a rag is a lot smaller than a stick. So the more things that you can get around your character at one time, so you can see that these are relatively small. You get a few hundred of those around you, because like the logs I was using, one log would take like 5 or 6 items up that are equal to this, but it doesn't matter the size of the item. You get the same XP per item with awareness, and then all you do is you click your escape button, you go to main menu, you force log out, and then you go to continue on the main menu screen and you log back into the server. And every time you log into the server, when I was using planks, which you couldn't fit nearly as many there. I was getting like 1,000, 2,000 XP per log. So from getting to basic to medium awareness, very, very easy. I have not tested the rag strips yet, but I do think it's going to be very important to use something like that if you want to power level your awareness early. And especially if you go for advanced plus awareness, I think that's going to be the best method to do that. I won't really show you this here, but that's gonna be probably the general thing I would tell you. So medical, just start with advanced medical. It's gonna save you a lot of time. If you do not start with advanced medical and you want to start with something else at the beginning of the game, like engineering or survival or camo or whatever, I would do the 67% thing, drop this down. Now, the point with that is when we look over here at thievery, 67% gives you sixes and a seven at the end. So you need about 340,000 XP. Now, this is what I would tell you. Any skill that levels up at a consistent rate, I would probably go 3 skill points under advanced starting the game with that. So if you have 3 decks and you start the game with 3 decks and you want advanced thievery, I would still go and lower it by 3 points, which I think is 80%. No, it's not 80%. If you do 3 points, it is like 87%, which will be 160,000 or so XP to get to advanced. And at 4 points, you get 80%, which is going to be 200,000 XP. Now, something like thievery or medical, where you get a set XP gain, then when that happens, it means there's no benefit from starting with 0 in the skill compared to starting with advanced in the skill XP wise. And at that point, going from everyone really has the consensus that going from 0 in a skill to medium in a skill is fairly easy. So there's no point in my mind to really push the XP gain farther than what it would take you to level it from 0 to medium when you are actually getting an advanced skill. and then your tolerance over that is going to be how much more that you can push this. So at 2.5, uh, let me see here. At 2.5 thievery, let's just go ahead and do this. If you started the game with 1.5 in dex and you had medium thievery, okay, you would need 1 million points to get to advanced. Now, if you did the smaller locks and got 50 XP, you're looking at 20,000 lockpicks there. Say you can do 100 in a day, that's still 200 days. So it's going to take you a year to get that done. It's an issue. Okay, let's say that you're really, really good at lock picking and you can get advanced lock picks. You need that million. I think it's like 250, but let's say you get 300 XP per. You need 3,333 lock picks there. And if you get 100 a day, it's going to take you a month or so. All right. Now that's possible, but you have to have the items to lockpick. You have to have the lockpicking board. You have however many seconds it takes you to lock, because this is RNG. You're not going to be able to do it consistently at any rate. So some of those are going to take 10 seconds. Some of those are going to take, 20 seconds. Sometimes you're going to have a bad luck streak. This is a little bit too much variety to level up that skill consistently. It's going to take you a few months compared to every other skill that I've told you that we've had on here. It's going to take you a couple days. This will take months. Okay. So running, endurance, thievery, medical from the beginning of the game is going to take you a long time, months or years to level that up fully, is what it seems like to me. I mean, just for an average player, I think that's going to take you a long time, way too long. Leveling your strength, you're not going to lose it unless your food consumption is bad, and you're going to have bad food consumption if your energy usage and stuff is low. So, like even standing here, my character is burning 87. Uh, I think the lowest I've seen was 52, and then this one is 51. So this has a really low calorie burn. If I started with advanced endurance, that would be even lower. And the calorie burn is really good to have at the beginning of the game when you want to passively level stealth and you want to passively level camo. Having lower calorie consumption means your character is going to die before you get back to your computer, which is very important. But when we do thievery, let's go back to this real quick. And right now, we are at 67%. Now, when we look at, say that you did 3 points under and you needed 160,000 XP or so, and then you do the basic locks of 50, and let's say that you do 100 a day, uh, you're still looking at 32 days or about a month. But you can lock pick the basic locks a lot more consistently than you can lock pick advanced locks. So that is something there. But if you go and say you start with that and you need the 160,000 and you're good at lock picking and you can get the advanced locks and you do the, I believe it's 250, but if you do the 300, all right, that's going to take you 5 days. If you do 100 a day, it'll take you 5 days. Now at 67%, you have to get 340,000. And if you do with the 50, it's going to take you 6,800 or so lock picks. And then you're going to need, if you do 100 a day, that's going to be about 2 months. All right, so you're still going to take you a while. Now, if you do the 340,000 and you're able to get the advanced locks, you need 1,000 or so lock picks. That I can already pick advanced locks with medium lock picking. So PVE wise, I can still go to kill boxes and stuff and lock pick those locks and have a decent shot at getting the loot. But here it's going to take me that much. And if I divide that, if I'm able to do 100, That's going to take 11 days. So I think that having something 67% to 80%, 87% is going to be where you'd want the thievery because it's going to conserve a point. Now, if you take 3 points, I believe you take 3 points out of thievery. If you have 3 dexterity, then you can take basic and another skill like basic demo or basic driving. And then 4 points, you can probably get a basic and half of another skill. I don't really fully remember. Um, and medical is kind of in the same boat, but you get 25 XP here compared to uh, thievery, but it's per item used, so you can still get like 75 or whatever per injury if you heal quickly enough, which is okay. You know, if I wanted to take another skill here, and say, let's say if you did the 67% there and you need the 340,000 and you get 25 XP per, that's 13,000 something hills, and you take 3 rags per hill, uh, that's 4,000 or so hills. You know, you could do that over a period of time. I mean, it's not gonna be the worst thing ever if you heal. I don't know if you heal 50 times a day. That's like 3 months. That's just something. Anyway, those are the ones that take the longest. But the brawling skill from medium to advanced, you can basically. Let me just go ahead and explain this a little bit. I'll run down here and kill this zombie real quick. Your brawling and your melee skills can be leveled kind of passively. This is an 80-pound bow, but you can see that it doesn't matter what bow that you use. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and drop this real quick. So my brawling probably won't level because I don't think I have enough strength yet, or it's glitched. Okay, but when you hit a dead body with a melee weapon or brawling, it's going to give you XP. When you have no skill, or I think no skill, you got like 3. But even if you have 1 strength, you can start with basic in both melee and brawling. And from basic, you get like 7. And then from medium, you get like 17 XP a hit. And I didn't really test anything past medium because once you get advanced, I didn't really care. But 17 a hit is not too bad. Now, here is the thing though, okay? With brawling, you can do this and level up decently fast, but you need the endurance to continuously be able to do this. And you can only really do it with kicks and your character model moves. So the only way you're going to be able to do this passively is to get a puppet in a corner and then have your character like bumping up against the corner, you know. But even without advanced brawling, if you start with medium, that's going to put you above 90% of the other players in brawling skill. So that's pretty much the benefit there. And you're already going to get access to the combo. You're going to get access to a pretty good combo. Now, when you get to melee weapons, they can attack faster. Oop, that isn't the one I want. Axe, stone axe. They can attack faster than brawling. So this right here, the basic stone axe, it attacks pretty quick. There's other weapons that attack faster than this axe, but the axe and the other melee weapons attack faster than brawling. So you can gain more XP with melee weapons than you can with brawling. Right now we're at 22. Okay. Now we're at 47. Right. So 47 auto. We gained 3 because we have no skill. So without any skill at all, you're going to gain 3. Once you get to basic, you're going to gain 7, and then once you get to medium, you'll gain 17. Now that means from basic, you're gonna need this and divided by 3. You're gonna have to attack 3,000 something times. If you can do one of those, like one attack a second, it's gonna take you about an hour. Okay. Then when you get to 100,000, you're gonna be getting 7 an attack. All right. And if you can do an attack a second, which I'm pretty sure that you can do that faster than one a second, to be honest. Wait, something's off here. 100,000 divided by 7. 60. Okay, yeah, yeah, okay. So it's 4 hours. So you're going from 1 hour to 4 hours. So that's 5 hours to get to medium, and then once you get to medium, you're going to be getting 17. So when you get to 17, you're looking at 16 hours. So both brawling and strength level up at the same rate. So you're going to be able to level these up at about the same amount of time. However, it is easier to passively level melee than it is brawling, because brawling you move. All right. Now you could set up a macro. You could set up something to click your mouse every now and then, and that's going to give you this. Or you can just auto attack bodies. My hope is at some point the game developers are going to give you XP for using your melee weapons. So like chopping the bodies, chopping trees. Even if they give you 1 XP per, that would give melee so much more XP. Um, like per chop, because you could see, like, especially at the beginning of the game, you're getting like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 chops. Just doing this, you're probably getting like 50 chops there. That'd be like 150 XP for melee weapons right here. Just one simple thing that they could adjust to level melee up a lot quicker. Um, this also comes to strength, so I guess we'll cover a little bit of strength leveling real quick. You can put stuff in your backpack, like a log or whatever, and at 1.5 strength, you can run around with the log and stuff in your backpack and get zero point 0.2 leveling. If you want to passively level something at less of a high rate, you can cut trees and things. It'll go up to point 0.1, 0.7, depending on how much weight is on your back. Sometimes you can get 0.24. In single player, you can get 0.184, which is the max, but I wasn't able to get that in multiplayer. But then you just cancel it and then go right back into it. You don't lose any durability on your actual weapon, and you will be continuously leveling this up. So you could set up a macro for this if you wanted to, and passively level your strength right here for as long as you wanted to. Okay. I don't really use macros, but that's what you could do. Now you would have to adjust for, well, actually you wouldn't. If you don't have any survival, you could just sit there and cut trees and be fine. You will have to manage your calories just like anything else, which is why I think also having a higher constitution is good to get more benefit from calories. Also, the bit here is that when you are cutting a tree or something, your constitution does not go down. So you could passive level your strength up without losing constitution pretty much as you want. So what else do we got to talk about here? Okay, medical, easy, survival, down trees or whatever. Engineering, use the blueprints. Awareness, levels up while building bases. Looting, logging in and logging out. As those are the fastest ones. Using your bow at the beginning of the game will give you a lot of awareness as well. Camouflage and stealth, you need to find a rock or something that kind of lets you push up into it. Sometimes having a backpack on helps. I found there's a few things that don't really level unless you have a backpack on, but you find the rock face or something like that, and you AFK into it, and you will gain stealth and you'll gain camouflage or whatever. That's how you can level that one. Takes a few days. I do that stuff when I'm at work. It doesn't require macros or anything like that, but it does require you to keep your character alive, which is also why endurance and stuff works here. But when you're doing that, your constitution will not be leveling. You will be losing constitution as you do that. So it's important to run your character while you're online and then passively do that, or you'll come back and you don't have much of anything here. So you can use a wheelbarrow to level your strength also. So right here, where this is the max at 0.38, and we're at a jog pace, this is also why a good reason to have higher endurance is because you're not going to waste time when you're base building or whatever. You can get that 0.384, and then you're just going to be able to push the cart without having to take a break every 2 seconds. And it's going to give you a lot more strength gain over a longer period of time compared to everything else. All right. Now, you can also get the point two or whatever, having it in your backpack, but this right here is going to be a decent amount of strength. That is the highest I've been able to get the strength to level at all. So wheelbarrow, very important, especially like the higher your skill level gets, you're going to get less and less return. So having more and more weight on a wheelbarrow is going to help you level up all your stuff there. So that is very important to remember, very important to use, but uh, kind of the bare minimum with a backpack. So strength, we're at 1.5, which means we need 1.5 strength to get to 3, right? And one of the lowest levels that we can get is about zero point 0.2, just carrying stuff on our backpack. And that will take 7.5 in-game days for that to happen, which is 6 hours, I believe, per. So it's going to take you about 45 hours, right? Which is a little under 2 days to get to 3 strength. That is a lot faster than the years or months that it takes you to level up those other skills. All right. And if you can get the 0.3, all right, so that wheelbarrow method that we were just doing, 384, that's about 4 in-game days, which is about 1 day in game, or about 1 day in real life, right? So you can go from 1.5 to 3 strength in about a day's time. Now, this is where I'm telling you that I think this is one of the best builds that you can get for a solo player. Um, and then if you want to go for a team leader, then you just swap over the points from conditioning to intelligence, because the only gain that you get from putting extra points in intelligence is that you're going to be able to get you can get a two 67% leveled skills. So you could do 67% leveled engineering, 67% leveled medical, and then you could level both of those up over time with your team. If you're a team leader, you will do the healing, you will do the base building, you will level those both up to advanced within a couple of days, and then you will have all of the healing and all of the building and crafting that your team needs at the very beginning of the game, and not have very much penalty there. So if you're going for 5 intelligence, that would be the best thing to do, and you won't be losing out on your speed and stuff in constitution. You'll be on par with every other player. You will be slightly weaker when it comes to physical, but it's not going to take you long to level up that physical while base building. So that is very important. So when you look at your skills, you need to look and see like what is the benefit that you get uh, in comparison to everyone else. Because if it's a stat race, I'm going to get more fame for all of these weapon skills that I don't have leveled. I'm going to get I don't know if you get fame for running and stuff, but if you do, it's lame. So, whatever, screw that. You get fame for all of these skills, leveling those up. Thievery, maybe, but it would take too long to, gain fame there. It wouldn't really be the best method. Medical, I don't know if you gain fame with that or not, but you gain fame with all this other stuff pretty good. So, time wise, if someone starts with advanced engineering or whatever, and that you can farm that skill in like 3 or 4 days, whereas they have to spend years to get advanced medical. Medical wins. Survival, you can get that maxed in, I don't even know, maybe 2 days, something like that. Something crazy. It's gonna take long uh, compared to the years that it's going to take to do medical. Now, and if you have access to the team and the number of people and all the medical supplies, you could level medical up pretty quick. But you have the time that it takes to get the resources. You got the time that it takes to heal each individual person. You got the time that it takes to get everyone injured to heal them in the first place, and the recovery time on top of that. So Medical is going to take a while. Awareness is going to be one of the slowest ones to level here, but you can still passively level this and get 2 or 3 thousand XP per login and get this leveled up pretty quick. For example, like all the stuff I was using didn't have very much room at all. But let's say that you do, because I'm pretty sure it's set standard. So it'd be triple one. So you have 0 skill, and say that you're able to get 2,000 XP, which was kind of what I was getting with the planks. If you use smaller things, you should be able to get more than that. But 2,000 XP, you're looking at 555 logins, right? Now let's take, maybe that takes, I don't even know, 30 seconds, right? It's not long. You know, you're gonna get that all figured out. It's not gonna take long to get awareness up. Camo, you can level up passively over a couple days. Thievery is going to take a long time to level, but you've already seen that like I can at least level this up to max pretty fast on my own, and I still have access to all the PvP content or PvE content with medium. I will have still have the ability to steal cars, still have the ability to hit bases, but leveling this, hitting police stations, all of that, it's just going to take me a little bit longer to get this fully maxed. Um, Worst case scenario, you take like zero point 0.5 out of your constitution, put it in dex, start with advanced thievery, and then take like, I don't know, put like running to medium, and you're good. All right. You lose a little bit of speed and a little bit of HP, but it's not going to be a huge significant amount that's going to really, matter most likely. At that point, I think you're pretty good. Now, rifles, the reload speed, all that stuff, it matters, but that's like in very intense, like close quarter situations, most likely. And when it comes to killing players, one shot, one kill can pretty much do that with rifles. You don't need rifle skill to shoot rifle effectively because you can hold your breath and everything's perfectly fine. So it's not a big deal. Brawling and melee, you already know you can level up. Handguns, you can level up. Archery is the one that you're going to be looking at. And when it comes to leveling archery, you're going to want a bow that you can barely pull back. And that's what I've been testing here today. So right now, you can see that we can barely pull back the 80-pound bow. Now, when you go to a full draw, it's going to take you like 2 or 3 seconds to pull back. This right here is like half the time to shoot an arrow. So when you're leveling up archery, it's probably better just to do that. Plus, it's better for puppets when you don't have to fully draw back to do this. So that is also a benefit. Then we look at basically what it was. I started with no archery. And what happened was you can get 0 archery. You can start with a 50 or 60-pound bow, and you'll barely be able to pull it back, right? And then before you even get out of basic, even killing like 10 puppets or something, you'll end up being able to barely pull back a 70-pound bow. And then you can see essentially right now we have went from basic, and once we hit about 30% to medium, we were able to barely pull back the 80-pound bow. And then now we have also 90-pound bow on our back, and we can't pull it back yet. So that is where we are at testing wise here. I think, 80-pound bow, perfectly acceptable. So we're going to continue to spawn a couple of puppets here. This is also kind of why it's better to be able to barely pull back the bow, because you're going to get more shots off. It's taking the same amount of arrows to kill these guys. But you're looking at way less time because you're saving time on the draw. Is all that is. You're saving time on the draw. All right. Hold on one second. Let me go ahead and look at the awareness. So we're at 1800 awareness right now. And we're going to get our arrows back. Also, if you want to passively level stealth, what I recommend is that when you're base building or you're doing stuff like this, you crouch. I know it probably doesn't make a ton of sense, but when you're like up here and you're dragging items with your hand or whatever, just go crouch and it will level up your stealth as you're moving. There's a lot of times that I'm like carrying a log and I'll crouch walk and then I will kind of drop the or pull the log while I'm crouch walking. So right there we gained 60 or so, so it's not as worth it, but you're gaining stuff out of it anyway. Now our strength, we've went up to 53% of the 90 pound again. Still not able to do that. And to note though, we can't go over medium until our strength levels. So once we go past medium, we don't really have any benefit with strength. You're gonna have to power level your strength for a couple days to get some more strength. All right, you can see I'm starting to pull the bow back a little bit farther. That's kind of how you can tell when you get ready to move on to the next bow. You can also level up your archery by crafting the more advanced arrows, which you can probably, it probably counts for crossbow bolts as well, I would assume. Ideally, that's probably what I would do. If you want to level rifles without having a gun, I would probably just craft crossbow bolts, level up your archery with that, and then shoot the bolts to get your other skill up. Go ahead and get this out. We're not there yet. You can see once you can fully pull the bow back, it can take a little bit longer to actually draw the bow consistently and hit your target. Now we're at 65%. Still nothing. You can pretty much fully use the 80-pound bow now. So that's 2 puppets. Let's get to like 70%. Go ahead and get a couple more arrows here. Using a bow that you can barely pull back just kind of limits the micromanaging that you have to do if you want to shoot fast. So I'd still recommend being able to use that. But being able, like after like 5 minutes, to be able to go and level or use an 80-pound bow, which is like one of the higher tier bows in the game, I think that is perfectly fine. Still not able to use that yet. So we probably have to get to medium. I'm going to assume probably before we can actually my screen looks weird to you, it's because I got my FOV and first person turned like all the way down. There's two reasons for that though. One is you get like a little bit of extra zoom. It looks like when you're in this, it's kind of hard in close quarters, but you get a little bit of extra zoom when you focus in, and when you're running, everything appears slower, which makes it easier to scan in the horizon. But being able to level these skills early, I think is going to be pretty good. Um, because by the time I get my base started, I'm gonna get medium engineering pretty quickly. I'm gonna be able to craft a improvised shotgun, and I should be able to craft the ammunition fairly quickly as well. So all of that should be good. Let's go back to the other bow, one that I want. All right. So now we are at about 80% to be able to use the 90-pound bow. All right. I'm just gonna go ahead and ditch the 80-pound real quick. And we'll finish leveling this up. You can see like when you have a bow that you can't fully draw, how like it's just a little bit quicker when you shoot. It's fairly nice. And you don't have to micromanage everything. So let's go ahead and get some more arrows. Oh, get the 100-pound bow in here. Getting pretty close to that. So 100-pound bow, can't use it yet. Trying to get all this done before I go to work. I'm running out of time, so I do apologize for that. Ooh, it didn't pull back. Okay. water deficiency going on. We still getting strength. All right. So we are now at max. Well, not max, but we're at medium archery, which is the highest that we can do until we can level our strength up. And let's go ahead and test the 100-pound bow. We're very close. We're on the verge. But it looks like you're not going to be able to use the 100-pound bow at the beginning of the game, which is fine with me. I mean, I can use this 90-pound and the 80-pound perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and look at the 80-pound again. Let's do 80-pound. So 90-pound, we can shoot rapidly. 80-pound, we can hold for a second. All right. Then 70-pound. You can hold it a little bit longer. Not too bad though. Options. Video. Okay. But you can see, like, at the beginning of the game, you're going to be moderately effective with archery. You're going to be moderately effective with rifles, handguns, melee weapons won't take you too long. Uh, melee weapons is going to be the longest out of everything at the very beginning. But you're not going to be able to get any extra skill until you level up your strength. That's going to take you a couple of days, but that puts you on par. All of these skills you can level up probably within 1 day of play. So really, it's the attribute leveling that is going to be the longest factor when it comes to strength. And all of these, within like 2 or 3 days, you're going to be able to get strength up once you start farming it. And then these are going to get leveled up that same day probably. And then boom, you're pretty much done at that point. Conditioning is going to be high, good to go. You got as much HP as you could possibly need. We've lost 0.2 HP so far, just setting. And then Dex is going to go up over time, pretty much on its own. Dex can outpace conditioning by quite a bit because it can go up constantly, like the whole time. Right now, I mean, it's already almost, you know, getting to a quarter to the next point, outpacing strength as well. But you can level strength and Dex at the same time also. So. But that's the big thing. You're going to have a lot of movement speed. You're going to have a lot of endurance. When the dex goes up, you're going to get more and more movement speed. Once the conditioning goes up to 14%, you're going to get 1 more point in movement speed as well. And then once it fully maxes, you'll get another point in movement speed. So within a few days, you're going to have max running, max constitution, max dexterity, max thievery, whatever you want in here. You're going to have max in almost all the skills and intelligence, and then you're going to have at least 3 strength when you start leveling strength fairly quickly. Just running around the map in general, like right now we don't have very much weight on us at all, and it's going up by like 0.008, which I mean, that's going to take a while. But it's not too bad. You're going to get a lot of fame points with this. You're going to get a lot of movement speed. It's going to help you out pretty much in everything. When you base build, it's going to be good. I think this is definitely one of the top builds that I would run at the beginning of the game. Ideally. Thanks for watching this. If I helped you out any, feel free to send me a message or whatever. Twitch, YouTube. Got 2 different channels I got to put it on, YouTube and all that. The quality and everything is pretty bad because I'm using like Restream nowadays, and it doesn't have an option for like faster streaming or anything until you pay a membership or pay like a monthly fee. So I'm still on the fence about doing that, but I gotta head to work. Hopefully this helps somebody. Y'all have a good